The BMD Podcast, anytime you want. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm the BMD and you're listening to the BMD Talks, and we have some special guests on the channel today, and it is a band. We're going to find out what type of music. I want them to tell you. I don't want me to tell you. This is the band, I believe, called The Riches or Riches. We're going to clarify that. And on my left, we have Flowers Watkins. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And we have right beside him, Eric. Last name, please? Smale. Okay, and I believe you guys are the founders, and this band got together summer 2016. I was reading in the bio. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So Tell us some of that magic, sitting on a park bench, having a coffee and bagel, or knew each other. Tell the listeners how this connection was made.
Sure. So Eric and I were neighbors. We used to be neighbors in this building where we are now. Eric was just on the other side of this wall. And I heard him playing guitar through the wall one day. And so we have a deck in common. And I heard him going out there for a smoke, and I waylaid him and offered him a drink and that. And we talked, and then we started playing music. We stayed up quite a long time, chatting and that. And we had a couple of false starts. But when we got into it, we were recording like 6 or 7 songs a week.
Wow!
Because we're just next door to each other. We were just doing it all the time, and so it was great.
So expand on. You're hearing it through the walls. Did you feel this guy's got a nice hook? I like the riffs. I'm hearing maybe a bit of singing. Expand on how it develop through the walls. I got the part, have a drink, coffee, whatever, share the deck. But what intrigued you by Eric's sound, music, flow, vibe? Tell us about that.
Well, I think my wife was away at the time, and I'd had a couple of cans of cider, and I was sitting here and I heard this music, and I started writing lyrics singing along to the guitar music.
Interesting.
I don't have a record of it, unfortunately. It would have been nice to have had that, but you know, it's like, it's just the best to be in a band, you know, and like hearing that music, I thought that's a band there. That could be a band. And like, so I'm usually not such an outgoing person, but when I heard that, I just had to waylay him and entrap him and start talking about music.
Well, yeah, and one of the things that we discovered early on in one of those first meetings was that Rob has a long history of writing music in his head, like without actually like setting them to chords and things like that. And so we sort of realized that there's potentially this perfect match because you know, I play a few different instruments and have some recording gear in the apartment, et cetera, and for me, the really sort of missing piece is a huge one, and that was songs. And so, you know, that first night, Rob started to sing a few songs, just like from I guess memories, stuff that you had already had from years past or whatever. And it just worked. We just sort of hit it off, and from there, it sort of grew pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, Eric, you play numerous instruments. Can you tell the listeners and viewers your vocabulary and your arts of experience of these instruments? You know, expand on it. People want to know. They're going to watch this and they're going to say, hey, this guy plays. Go ahead.
Well, sure. So like my I guess my main instrument is guitar. I play guitar in the band. But I mean, one of the things that attracted me about Rob's songs early on was how rhythmic they are. And I'm a drummer sort of first and foremost from when I was a kid.
Okay.
And so the way that we tend to work, we figured out early on, and actually we figured out over and over and over again, because we keep forgetting it's the way that works best, is for him to do an a cappella vocal. And then the first really thing to unlock the song is to find out what the rhythm is.
Okay.
What sort of is would be best to drive this. And so a few years before Rob and I got together and started this process, I started becoming interested in drum machines and synthesizers and things like that. And drum machines were sort of more for a practical reason, in that, living in an apartment, it's hard to unless you really want to piss everyone off in like a 100-foot radius.
Yes.
Drum machines are, it seemed like the next logical thing. And so, the process sort of always begins there. We have to remind ourselves, like, okay, let's do a beat and see if we can unlock it that way.
Yeah.
So share with the listeners and viewers the word style. You have a unique sound. I find it different. Where does that come from? And what would the label be of the style, of the genre of music? Can you expand on that for us?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I think our sound comes from our process. And like we said early on, like if we have the same process as everyone else, we'll have the same sound. And like most songs are written when the band jams, someone has a riff, you jam to it, and then the singer starts to sing to it. And it comes together spontaneously. And that's probably how most of the best songs were written, in some form of that.
Mm-hmm.
The way I for years, I've been writing songs in my head without the talent to transpose it to an instrument.
No notes or...
Well, I just have the melodies in my head.
Wow.
And I have had a little success recently I got like a little synth and I was able to pick out some of the notes, but I'm much more interested in the lyrics and just working this way with Eric. And then we finish the song together, and it's, we set it down together and it becomes the drink.
So the song structure, if I may, does it come like over a morning coffee or a walk in the park or during a workout? And let's say you see the dog run and boom, it starts.
Well, I have my own writing process is that I can show you actually. Should I go off camera for a second, or should I?
Sure. Go ahead. We're interested in what makes you tick.
So this is my notebook. I get through these pretty regularly. And what I do is I often hear people say lines that just sound great for a song. And so I just write it down. I usually write an asterisk,
Okay.
and then I write the line. And if someone says it, I'll write their initials, or if it's from the Bible or something like that, I might write a cross. Just some sort of symbolism to tell me where.
Mm-hmm.
And from those, and the thing about those lines is that they all have I find some sort of melody implicit to them. And when I hear those lines, I can hear how they should be sung. And the songs come together line by line in this way. And the meaning unfolds as the lines come together. And when we do the music together, we add to the meaning with the music, like the treatment of the music adds a lot to the meaning of the song, and it grows organically like that. We've got 76 songs like this now. And it's coming all the time. I just uploaded 2 more on Monday for Eric, and it's great. It's heaven, isn't it? It's just awesome. It's so much.
So what decides what makes the cut and what remains on the not the garbage pile, but the well, we'll deal with that later. What makes the cut on, hey, we're doing that one?
I think we pretty much just working through them.
Yeah, it's true. I think we've been pretty systematic. What that means though is that there tends to always be a cache left over of new stuff, and so it's really hard for the band to keep up with how prolific Rob is in terms of just generating new song ideas. But I think it pays off to sort of take our time with it to an extent. Not that we don't like over labor the process originally, like when Rob and I first get together. What ends up happening is that part of as Rob said, this ethos of the process being a little bit different from other bands. What it means for the band and for my role is trying to, like, the mantra is to serve every song as if it's a unique thing. You asked about genre before.
Yep.
And I think the thought from right from the start was that we sort of recognized that each of these songs is a little bit different. They might each feature some kind of genre trope, but we were sort of interested from the get-go in starting a project that wasn't really beholden to genre, and that just sort of followed what the song suggests. And so
you've got a unique sound, as I mentioned, and didn't want to, I felt, get prone into a category, if you will. So when the song's laid out is, and I know their songs are different, is it start with, say, lyrics, the words, the poetry, riff, blend of the music comes in, or is each song different? Sometimes it's, say, a musical side stronger than the writing side. I'm always interested in that creativity. Can you share that?
99% of the time, it's the song first. It's Rob. It's the lyrics and the melody and the delivery, as Rob was suggesting, like the way that the lines kind of unfold suggest a kind of melody or an energy that each song has that's kind of different. And so I think.
So Eric, explain to us. You hear the words. The dog ran across the street. Where do you start thinking about the blend, the tune, the riff, melody, the flow? Where does it start?
Well, I mean, I think honestly, we both of us, I think visually.
Oh,
and so and we don't really talk about lyrics too much. I don't think, at least not from the start. Rob might give a hint as to what the song's about, but we. I mean, it's a matter of sort of just paying attention to the kind of imagery that Rob's using and thinking about what kind of setting it evokes, and then finding a beat that works to drive it and like act as an engine to sort of get it going. And in every case, we try to make it so that it's danceable and it's something that's kinetic.
Yeah. That's always the concern, is the good beat, making it fun.
Why I asked the question, HBO just did a documentary on David Crosby of Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and the song Ohio on the human sacrifice at the Kent State campus. All of a sudden, Crosby and Neil Young were together, and Neil Young, so upset about what was happening, what he was watching on TV, the protest, went into the backyard, into the woods, walked into the woods, and wrote the song in something like 3 to 10 minutes. Came back in, told Crosby. Right away, he called the producer, the studio people, let's get in there. And that afternoon, Ohio became a hit. So I'm always curious, how do you know, as artsy people, obviously that's a gift as opposed to a traveling salesman or a tradesperson. How do you know where you can walk off a couch, bang a song out, and you know this is the action, this is going to happen?
Well, I'd say personally, when I'm doing my part of it, and when I'm like writing these songs in my head, it can take a very long time sometimes, like 6 weeks, 7 weeks working on a song. And then I might have a whole bunch of songs in 1 week, like 3 or 4 songs. That's often how it goes. It takes a long time to finish one, then a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
I just, so for me, what guides me through is just that sort of intuition, just like, because I'm building these songs from lines I hear people say, and also my own thoughts too, but I'm never really trying to write, I'm just always listening for a good line, I suppose. And these messages, I suppose, they sort of come together somehow.
So that process must be a gift from somewhere. Is it a family secret? Is you were born with the identity, or can you expand on that? Or you're just, I'm the guy that says the words, Eric's the guy that makes the music, and boom, here we are as the Riches. Is that it?
Well, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But I know I've wanted to be Jim Morrison since I was 11 years old. And
Interesting.
Trying.
So I gotta ask, where is Flowers come from?
Flowers is it's a family name. It was my great grandfather's name.
Like a nickname or a true name or a sidekick name?
No, it's his actual name. Yeah.
Wow.
He was an artillery captain in the First World War. And
I never heard that before, that kind of name.
Yeah, he was Canadian. You can look his name up at the War Museum, Canadian War Museum.
Nothing about Flounders Field or Flowers Field? No blend there?
I haven't seen that much detail of his service record. I'm not really sure.
Happiness, give up on the kids. Give up on the coast. Much nicer in the valley. Feed the kids to the beach. 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 I wanna die in late September. I wanna die in September. Beat the kid to the beat. Beat the kid to the beat. Beat the kid to the beat.
What are you working on right now?
Sure. I mean, yeah, we as Rob mentioned, we just shot a video on Saturday for what probably, could very well be the first single from our debut record, which we hope to have. Well, we hope to start as soon as we can get into the studio. And COVID has put it. It keeps sort of delaying the starting of the process. But we're ready to go. We've got a set of songs that we're really excited about and that feel, I think, like what we've always sort of imagined the first Riches record to sound like.
Across the desert, and you don't sleep at night, but lions never do. Lions don't sleep at night. Well, we left the city in the country, another orange drops from the tree. But lions don't sleep at night. Lions don't sleep at night. And the beach is blue, and I can't pretend
So you mentioned COVID, Eric. How is that backdrop, the timing of everything? I know you mentioned the word delay, but the band's okay. Everybody's healthy, or you've had sickness issues with this, friends and family, or
No,
everybody's okay?
Yeah, we've been fortunate, I think, in that it hasn't touched any of our lives personally. I don't think, but and on a creative front, it's been good. I mean, it's been all right because stepping back for a little bit allows us to come back at it with fresh energy. That's happened a few times since this all started last year.
But what about when the public wants to see you, of course, and there's only in a Zoom environment, or let's say a Zoom intermittent concert, or a unplugged kind of a thing? It's got to be, testing all the time there of you guys moving forward. You must be in neutral instead of drive.
Well, I think it's been really good for us. I think we're a much better band than we were, and I'm not really sure why. Maybe
Practice makes perfect.
I guess we're just practicing, and we're not worrying about gigs or any logistical stuff. We're just rehearsing. And I remember that Kyle, the drummer, said like 5 months ago, it's like we, like, in the last month, we've got much better. Like, we've become and it really has. It's really tightened up. But it was tough at first because we had a lot of gigs booked for the summer of 2020. We had every Saturday night booked. Sneaky D's, the Baby G, the Hideout. Like, we had a great run of shows lined up, and it felt like we were about to make a bit more of an impression on the scene. But anyway, after this, we were ready, and we were better than ever.
Who decides in the band on the night's song list? Is it a toss of a coin, or how does that happen?
Yeah, in the past, we've done it a bit more, conventionally, where we've tried a whole bunch of different configurations and things, but we've recently had a new addition to the band. Rob, do you want to speak to the presence?
Yeah, we had the wheel. We are now supplicants of the wheel, and the wheel has got all of our songs on it, all the songs that the band is ready to perform. 26 songs, and it's on the Brett's phone, and so he spins it, and we just play whatever song comes up, and we'll play for 3 hours straight like that.
Wow. So in between a song ending, you do the Rolodex, and pick another one.
Yeah, like Wheel of Fortune.
It's come up with some pretty good sets, man.
Wow.
Yeah, the wheel knows.
Yeah, it's got some logic. It's got some flow. It's really nice.
Yeah, and it's funny.
So go ahead.
The songs that we would usually play first anyway always seem to come up on the wheel. It's just kind of uncanny sometimes.
So before COVID, tell us about your best show where the audience you hit it, the owner of the club hit it, everything was good. What was your best show, favorite show? Let's group that together.
B-side,
I think, yeah, for sure. And that was our last show, actually. So we went off went out on a high note.
Yeah.
So how long's it been since you've been in a club? Like a year and a half with the COVID?
I think that was early January. Last gig, I think.
Yeah.
2020, early January. That's the last gig. But
And what made it so special? Let's use that word.
Well, it was our show. It was our evening. We put together the supporting acts, and we killed it. And we packed the place. And they had a good night at the bar, so they didn't want any extra cover for their techs and stuff. And it's good, yeah.
So, are you managing yourself, or do you have not a road manager, but a group manager that's putting you out there when things are out of COVID? Whether it be Facebook or media. Is there somebody pushing your envelope?
Yeah, we have had help in the past, but at the moment we're just managing ourselves.
And how do you find that? Too tasking? I don't mean current times, but handling it yourself with, one being the music guy, one being, say, the songwrite guy. I know there's blends and togetherness, but Are you still able to be really creative when you're thinking about the next gig, where you're going, who's paying, who's buying?
Well, generally, I mean, in the before time, like before COVID, I suppose it was a bit of a hassle because life was a lot busier then. And then you'd also have to find time to, reach out to bars and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I sort of tried to get around that by just doing a blitz. And that's why I got us all booked up for the whole summer, like months ahead, because I didn't want to be bothered doing it.
So you're both doing this full-time band, or you have other side jobs, or how are you cracking the dollar on these poor economic times?
Side jobs. Yeah.
Like teaching or music related or Uber driving or taxiing? What?
I work in government.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been okay with COVID. I've just been working from home since day one.
How about you, Eric?
I'm a teacher, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you going back to school soon, or you're still waiting?
September. Looks like September. It's. I think it's going to happen. It has to happen.
Yeah, the numbers are dropping, so that hopefully is going to open up things. Guys, we're almost out of time. I want you to tell the listeners and viewers how they can connect with you. We're going to put our side in on, you're going to get some songs to Lucas, my engineer, but how can people connect to you if they want to talk to you later?
Well, the best way is to visit our website at www.the-riches.ca. And there you can find some video clips and updates about our upcoming shows. And you can read our bio. And you can also see we've got some interesting art to look at. And some of it's for sale. And we have a page of NFTs with some interesting gifts and videos.
Well, you're going to be out there, hopefully COVID, let's say no later by the new year. There's a new freedom in life. And we always have our guests back to catch up on where are they now in their careers and what has changed in their life. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you'd like to come back because it was an interesting interview. And folks, you've been listening to me, the BMD. I'm your host on the BMD Talks, and we've had Riches here, the Riches. They've been very rich with me, certainly, to tell us how they're doing and what they're doing during these times. We've had, is it Robert Flowers or Flowers? What do you like to be called? Flowers. And of course, his sidekick, partner in crime, Eric there. Hey, way to go, guys. Thanks for coming in. And don't forget, if you've enjoyed what you've seen, what you've heard, put the thumbs up and tell a friend. Have a good night. See you then.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.